Welcome to today's special meeting of the Measure H Citizens Oversight Committee. Today is Wednesday, October 23rd, 2024. I now call this meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Chair Steele,
Here.
Vice Chair Treffa,
Present.
Committee Member Huerta,
Present.
Committee Member Don Carrion,
Present. Present.
Committee Member Cerny.
Present.
All right. So our first item is presentation. It will be the fiscal year 2024-2025 Measure H budget.
Good evening, Measure H Citizens Oversight Committee. My name is Shannon Estenwine, Finance Director for the City of Ceres. Before you tonight is a brief overview of the city's fiscal year 24-25 budget and Measure H appropriations. The city's budget was adopted on June 18th, 2024, with appropriations totaling $90,685,587. The total budget for Police Sworn Department 10 is $15,639,132, of which Measure H is funding $2,805,208. While the total budget for the Fire Department is $8,789,908, of which Measure H is funding $1,938,500. Fire and police combined represent total Measure H appropriations of $4,743,708, and this represents a decrease in Measure H appropriations of $2,129,960 when compared to the fiscal year 23-24 budget. It's anticipated that this year's Measure H revenue will be $4,744,300, representing a balanced budget. Attachment A shows the police budget broken down by line item, and this budget consists of 10 police officers at $2.3 million and $471,000 for services, supplies, operations, and maintenance, which with major expenditures consisting of the Axon body-worn cameras of $138,000, SR 911 radio console maintenance of $13,000, Motorola Solutions maintenance and radio repair of $18,000, CADS RMS annual support of $70,000, travel, lodging, meals, and training of $58,000, Celebrate subscription of $20,000, ammunition of $37,000, Vigilant data platform of $9,000, and replacement of rifles, gun parts, training equipment, ballistic helmets, and various other police equipment for $42,000. Attachment B shows the fire budget broken down by line item. The fire budget consists of $1,918,500 for the fire contract with the City of Modesto and $20,000 for firefighting accessories. While developing the fiscal year 24-25 budget, it was noted that the 10-year Measure H expenditure plan was last presented on November 15th, 2017. The plan shows actual expenditures from fiscal year 07 through fiscal year 18, but did not project out revenues for the next 10 years. This item needs to be brought back at a future meeting to get us back on track with our 10-year expenditure plan, and we'll go from fiscal year 26 through 35. Over the next 5 years, we anticipate small revenue increases between 1.74% and 3.11% for an approximate combined growth of $990,000 over the next 5 years. At this time, I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Right. Okay. I'm going to open it up for public comment. There's no one here, so is there anyone on Zoom?
There's no one on Zoom.
No emails?
No emails received.
Okay. I'm going to bring it back, close public comment, and then bring it to the committee for discussion.
You are going to bring back the 10-year extended plan?
Yes, that needs to be developed, and then I'll be brought forward to the committee.
It will be.
Correct. Yes.
Okay.
And I have a question. From what I understand from our meeting 2 weeks ago, there's never been an actual audit of Measure H funds. Is that correct?
So it's conducted as agreed upon procedures. And so it's a compliance report to ensure that we're in compliance with the measure.
Okay, but There's never been a forensic audit of how much money is actually coming in and how much money is going out. Is that correct?
So the auditors do look at the expenditures and the revenue to ensure that they're related to police and fire services.
What is the chance of having the city council do a forensic audit of the funds of Measure H in order to make sure that the funding has been going to the appropriate people?
As far as the chances, I'm not sure what the chances of that would be.
I don't, excuse me, I don't have any questions or anything like that, but I do like to make a comment. I just want to thank you, Shannon and Sonia, for doing a great job with balancing the budget for fiscal year 25 for Measure H. I see that it's decreased a lot by about $2 million, but I know that it's been allocated to the general fund. So just want to thank you guys, the finance department, for doing such a good job.
Thank you.
Thank you. I do have a question in regards to subscription and memberships on the police side. In 2023, it was at 11,000. The budget for 2025 is at 25. Do you know why there's such an increase?
So I know the major subscription is the Celebrate subscription, and that's at 20,000. I'm assuming possibly the cost has went up, but maybe Captain Johnson has more information.
Yeah, the cost of Celebrite is at 20,000.
And can you explain what Celebrate is? Is that it's a subscription or membership to?
So Celebrite's actually a computer program that allows our detectives to get into locked cell phones for investigations.
Anybody else? Anybody else?
Can you talk to me a little bit about how we're going to project out the 10-year plan? It seems like, as I looked at it kind of quickly, it seems like we always overestimate. Is there a better process?
So as with any budget or projection, we can only base that on what we know at the time. And so the further you get out in projecting, the more inaccurate your numbers become. So the purpose of a 10-year plan would be kind of to look into the future. And if you know of expenses that will take place, say 5, 6, 7 years down the road, you may want to put away some revenue each year to kind of save up for that future expense. But the document should be looked at annually and updated annually. So it should be a rolling 10-year plan. And as more data becomes available, the numbers become more accurate. So you don't just stick with one 10-year plan and you're done for 10 years. That's not how it works. You should look at it every year and update it based on new information.
Thank you.
So just for everyone up here, the fiscal year for the city is July 1st to June 30th, right? Okay. One thing I noticed in the agenda, we didn't get to see what the projected revenue is with the budget. I know you mentioned it, but is that something that we can see whenever we see a budget like this in the future? Like what the projected revenue for that year is going to be, so we can look at the total expenditures versus the projected revenue and determine if we can see a deficit or not in that budget.
Yeah, I mean, it is included in the city's budget. I believe I had put it on the staff report, but maybe I did not. So yeah, we can include that in the future.
Okay. And then the other thing I noticed, I wasn't here for the last meeting, but in one of the consent calendar items, it looks like we get a report from something called Munis. And it shows the actual year-to-date revenue for sales tax. And when I was looking at it, I calculated based on the state report that it was that through our fiscal year, we were already 7 months into the fiscal year, and the actual year-to-date was 1.8 million in revenue, and our budgeted revenue was 4.9. So that already was a red flag that we may not be hitting budgeted revenue. hence why we had to do a decrease. And is that one of the reasons why we did the decrease for this next year's budget? Was because of projected revenues? I know we had the meeting, but they didn't get to hear, whoever wants to watch us later would probably want to like to hear that.
Yeah, so the decrease is based on actuals from the previous year, as well as we have sales tax consultants that look at the revenue in the city and they project out. So what I do is I take their number and that's what I use to budget. But I'm also monitoring that monthly. So they give me monthly amounts that they expect the city to receive. And I compare their numbers to what we actually receive. And if I'm to see a large discrepancy between those numbers, then that's when some sort of action would be requested from the council and recommendation from the committee so that we can ensure that we're staying on track.
Okay. And because, excuse me, because of the decrease, will that impact any of the public safety operations? I suspect no, because we're shifting it to the general fund, correct?
Right. So the funding had to shift to the general fund just over $2 million for this fiscal year because the appropriations for last year was over $6 million, which we did not receive that in revenue.
Okay. I think, is there anybody else has any questions?
I just kind of want to make sure what I'm looking at here, kind of going off what he was saying. If you look down at training equipment through communication equipment, those things were gathered under a different budget or a different title. 2025 budget shows 0.
Right. So a lot
Those
of
were-
that, you'll see the materials and supplies on object number 039900, how that is substantially higher. So a lot of those costs were moved up there because they're not actual fixed assets that we'll be capitalizing on the books. So we did some accounting changes in terms of how we record expenditures in different objects.
Thank you.
Excuse me. Okay, no further discussion. Guess we can move on to citizen communication. Citizen communication, while the committee welcomes and encourages participation at the committee meetings by the public, matters under the jurisdiction of the committee are not on the posted agenda and may be addressed by the general public. However, California law prohibits the committee from taking action on any matter not on the posted agenda unless it is determined to be an emergency by the committee. City Clerk, do we have any public comments through Zoom or email?
We have no one on Zoom and we did not receive any emails.
Okay, and there's nobody here in the room, so we can close public comment. So we'll move on to the next item on the agenda, which is appointments, and that'll be the appointment of the chair for the committee.
Good evening, Measure H committee members. As always, the second meeting or third meeting, if we don't end up having a meeting in May, we come back and have a chair selected. Josh Steely has been the chair for the committee this past year, and he's been serving since 2001. So I will turn it over to the committee to discuss and make a motion on who they would like to have serve as the chair for the following 12 months.
Okay, guess we'll open up for public comment. I don't know if anyone's joined in the last minute, but
No Zoom and no
no
emails.
Zoom and no emails and nobody here. We'll close it, public comment, and then we'll move it to discussion.
I think you're doing a great job.
I couldn't agree more. Since 2001 until now, I think you can just keep at it.
Well, then we'll need a motion.
I motion.
Second. I'll second the motion, I guess, if I can for myself. Yeah, call roll vote, sorry.
Chair Steely,
Yes.
Vice Chair Treffa,
Yes.
Council Committee Member Huerta,
Yes.
Committee Member Don Carrion,
Yes.
Committee Member Cerny. Motion carries 5-0.
All right. Next on the agenda is the consent calendar, and all matters listed on the consent calendar are considered routine in nature and will be enacted by a single motion unless otherwise requested by an individual member of the public for special consideration. Otherwise, a recommendation of the staff will be accepted and acted upon by roll call vote. Is there anyone on the committee that would like to pull consent item for discussion? I had one, it was minor, just number 2. So we'll pull that one.
I don't have anything.
Nothing else? Okay. Nobody, is there anyone on public comment? No.
There's no Zoom, no
No
emails.
Zoom, no emails, and nobody here. So we'll close that discussion. And motion for items 1 and 3 for the consent calendar. Any motion?
Aye.
We'll need a motion first.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion.
In a second.
Second.
Roll call.
Chair Steely,
Aye. Aye.
Vice Chair Truffa,
Aye.
Committee Member Huerta.
Aye.
The mic.
Aye.
Committee Member Don Carrion.
Aye.
Committee Member Cerny.
No.
Motion carries 4-1.
Okay, the item I pulled was for the approval of the minutes, and it's very minor. At the end of the minutes, I was going to see if we can amend with I think it says close out at the end as Chair Steely. I was absent that day. If we can amend that to Vice Chair Truffa, I make that motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
And roll call?
Chair Steely,
Aye.
Vice Chair Truffa,
Aye.
Committee Member Huerta,
Aye.
Committee Member Don Carrion,
Aye.
Committee Member Cerny.
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0.
All right. Next on the agenda is new business, and we'll look at a resolution, see approving the annual report of the committee regarding the expenditure of Measure H revenues for the year end of June 30th, 2023. And that will be presented by Shannon, our finance director.
Good evening again. Before you tonight is the annual report of expenditures and revenues for Measure H for the year ended June 30th, 2023. This is an accountant's compliance report conducted using agreed upon procedures in accordance with attestation standards established by the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants. 8 agreed upon procedures were performed, which are based on appropriateness of expenses charged to the fund, as well as ensuring all revenue applicable to the fund are properly recorded. Revenue for fiscal year 22-23 totaled $4,822,116, and expenditures totaled $6,098,257. $3,219,648 was related to police activities, and $2,878,609 was related to fire activities. The cash reserves at the end of fiscal year 22-23 totaled $1,331,070. No findings were noted on any of the procedures conducted by the certified public accountants. At this time, I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Okay, we'll open it again for public comment. No one's here in the room. Zoom, email?
No Zoom, no
No
emails.
Zoom, no email. Great. We'll close public comment and we'll bring it back to committee for discussion. Any discussion? Looking over here now. Nothing here. The only thing that I had, it noted on the 2023, June 30th, 2023, reserves were 1.3 million. Currently, that at year to date now, those reserves are gone, correct?
Yes, our current estimate is showing a $15,000 deficit.
Okay. And let's see. I think that's the only thing I had. Question. No other questions? will make a motion to approve this resolution.
I'll second.
Just to confirm, Josh, you made the first motion?
No, I was looking for a first motion. That's okay.
I'll make
Make
the
a motion to
motion
approve
to
the,
approve it.
I second.
A roll call.
Okay, so just to confirm, Vincent Treffa is the first, Angela Huerta is second motion.
Correct.
And Chair Steely,
Yes.
Vice Chair Treffa,
Yes.
Committee Member Huerta,
Yes.
Committee Member Don Carrion,
yes.
Committee Member Cerny,
No.
motion carries 4-1.
All right, next on the agenda is reports, and our first report will be, I don't see Chief Perry, so.
Good evening, Measure H Committee. My name is Trent Johnson, Captain, filling in for Chief Perry while he's out of town. He wanted me to cover some of the items that we purchased or budgeted for this fiscal year. However, Shannon already covered it. It was a Celebrite and some of the other items that she mentioned. So other than that, I don't have anything else.
We'll bring it to public comment. No one's here in the room. No Zoom, no email, I'm assuming.
No Zoom, no emails.
Okay, bring it back to the committee. The only question I had was regarding I know that we bought some license plate readers with Measure H funds. And I was wondering, I know we take a bunch of pictures of the license plates. Do we share that license plate data with other agencies and or commercial agencies?
We do share the data with other police agencies. We get information from private companies, but we don't share back.
Okay, we don't share with private companies, such as repo companies or tow companies.
Correct.
Okay. Anybody else?
Do you share with out of state?
We can share with out of state. I don't know. They have to elect to share, but it is possible.
What was the issues with Sacramento City and County? It wasn't their issue. The grand jury was frowning on them sharing out of state.
I'm not familiar with that. The way it works is you can elect to share, but you don't have to share back. So I'm not sure what their issues were.
I didn't read the report, but I'm assuming it's because we're collecting lots of data on innocent people and it was being shared outside the state.
That could be.
All right, thank you. Next report will be from Assistant Fire Chief Andrew Hunter. Sorry.
Good evening. My name is Andrew Hunter, Assistant Chief with Modesto Fire Department. The only item that I had to report is we, beyond the contract, is we purchased some firefighter accessories. Essentially what that ended up being is we purchased a lot of hose. It's something that's essential for the job. It wears out and it's not cheap. So we purchased more of it. And we appreciate the work that you do on the committee to support Measure H. Contributes greatly to the public safety services here in Ceres, and appreciate everything that that you've done for us. That's all I've got.
All right, we'll bring it to open it up to public comment. No one's here again. No one showed up.
Correct. No Zoom, no emails.
No emails. Bring it back to the committee. Any questions? No? Nothing over here? Okay. And I think that's the last item on our agenda. So, oh, no, the last one is the adjournment. So we'll adjourn this meeting.